Morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for tuning in for today's January Shotsuki Hoyo here in Watsonville. As you know, this service is live streaming, and we'll begin with an opening reading. Please join me in Gasho. Reverently, we come before the shrine of the Buddha, the Holy One, the Perfect One. With gratitude, we have brought our offerings of love and devotion. We earnestly resolve to strive to understand the teachings and to walk every day in His path, so that we may also attain the peace of Nirvana. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. We will now have the sutra chanting of the Sambujo on page 24, followed by the Hyobyakumon, and then the the Sambutsage and the Jusege on page 79 and on page 93. And at that time we will be showing you the names of the families observing Shotsuki in the month of January. Namandavas, Namandavas, Namandavas. Today, on this occasion of the Watsonville Buddhist Temple, January Shotsuki Hoyo Memorial Service, we reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of our family members. With deepest gratitude and benevolence for the wisdom and compassion of the Amida Buddha, we reaffirm the three homages. I go to the Buddha for guidance, I go to the Dharma for guidance, I go to the Sangha. Namo Kiya Butsu, Namo Kiya Ho, Namo Kiya So.
節無量寿行法言義義人無国女性妙無用当社日月間に修行変容解説本礼有脈十目如来有限小生無輪小学大四阿耨十法開門精進三昧智慧異徳無量修正系譜人体千年小仏崩壊不尽人の無言外体無明欲ぬ世尊用無因の死死人徳無量不空口内智慧人妙音妙異相神道大仙安雅差仏在所法が道生じ異不下脱不世領域概念精進行税三昧知恵以上の聖徳仏不行死が一切空一切内や平時空仏約千六万無量大小修行語者不要一切死と小仏不尿不道見性不逆非尿語者小不世界不不影不修節道根妙死生変死小国尿税精進異人難病病が差仏国土大一教主異名道場超絶国尿内や異無闘争がと背面と夏一切人法来所新熱症状異等が国経楽安穏高部神妙性が心象没願の非力少少用解法生尊死へ無下要領子孫知が信用平領心死食徳中悪用精進因受不変阿門調整願意志無常の死が不満足生不上昇が青無量故類内摂取無際小弁具生不上昇が阿死成仏の上昇長寿法空行未消門生不上昇が意欲人少年上へ修凡行死具無常の一生天然死人力現代公無所無才の少女三具名防災集約の 아이지행엔 애시 건너한 해석셔와 그너 스나츠센 슈몬 어서저 만석 이여러 제법 이지가즈 슈주기 엔거 엄พึ่엔 이슈카이호서 어세그너그허 여나이슈추 세보시시그 의여이사이븐 그석을슈덕그헌 안내시츠조만 덕그이상가이호 여부즈무게지 스다즈미부셔 안가그에리 어시사이셔선 시간야고카 아이세노간도 어그쇼텐닌 어진명회 아만다브 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 암만다브 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 한니식 근홍의 변화세이사이 논보 나이신 오녀 Namo Amitabus, Namo Amitabus, Namo Amitabus.
Thank you very much. And now I'd like to ask you to please join me in the Gatha Namo Amitabutsu on page 174 of the large purple service book. When life is fair and sunlight gilds the day, when fortune smiles and clouds torn away, oh, let us pause with grateful hearts to say, Namo Amitabutsu. Even though our way leads neath the darkened sky, and to our love once pain and death draw nigh, our tears may flow, yet trustingly we cry, Namo Amitabutsu. Thank you. Please join me in the meeting of the Threefold Refuge on page 10. Difficult is it to receive a human form, now we're living it. Difficult is it to hear the Dharma of the Buddha, now we hear it. If we do not cross over to the truth in the present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us with sincerity and true reverence take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we together with all sentient beings awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed intent of Amida Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we together with all sentient beings enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like the wisdom ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we together with all sentient beings become units in true accord, in harmony with all things. The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us once again. Every service, practically, we read this threefold refuge. And threefold refuge is really encouraging us to listen to the Dharma. It is reminding us that it is a rare and wonderful thing for us to receive the Dharma. And in this world, there are millions and millions of people. But out of those millions and millions of people, we are able to hear the Dharma. And a lot of that is because the result of our family members. Those of you who are observing Shotsuki in the month of January, it's your family member who brings you together. It's your family member who gives you an opportunity once more to listen to the Dharma, to listen to the words of Shakyamuni Buddha, of Shinran Shonin, Denyo Shonin, and others. Often wonder, outside of services or outside of temple, how many of us who are here today say the Nembutsu, to say Namo Amida Butsu. Do you find yourself saying it? You might find yourself saying it when something really good happens, and you're happy, and you feel grateful, and you recite Namo Amida Butsu. Sometimes you may say Namo Amida Butsu when you feel very sad, something difficult, unhappy is happening. And you put your hands together and you say Namo Amida Butsu. Typically, we may recite the Nembutsu at a wedding, or at a funeral, or at a memorial, or during services like this. Or maybe as you sit down and enjoy a meal. Is there a benefit from just saying those words? Is there any benefit at all of saying those words? If it were, then we ministers, we'd be really well off. We'd be doing really good in all ways. But notice, we always say Namo Amida Butsu whenever something is happening, whenever an event occurs in our life. We say Namo Amida Butsu. We go before our Butsudan every day, make an offering, put our hands together and say Namo Amida Butsu. There was many years ago a sociologist by the name of Peter Berger, and he once wrote that a child wakes up at night, and sometimes he'll wake up, or she will wake up from a bad dream. And when they open their eyes, it's still dark. They find themselves surrounded by darkness. They're alone. They're feeling or hearing nameless threats. So what does the child do? The child cries out for his or her mother. And that mother then will take that child and cradle him or cradle her in her arms. She will speak to him. She might hum to him. She may talk softly to him. And the content of this communication will invariably make the child feel comfortable, make the child feel safe and not afraid. Those of us who are adults, we probably have experienced this when we were children. What Peter Berger is telling us is that we can teach our children to trust the world in that we live in. And this is difficult, especially with everything that's going on in this world. But we can teach our children to trust and to fall asleep without worry. We teach them not to be afraid of shadows, not to be afraid of thunder, not to be afraid of the boogeyman. We can teach them not to be afraid of that which is not true. In other words, we can teach them about not being afraid of ignorance. You know, many times a child will cry out and say, "Mommy," or "Mother," or "Kachan." But mother, you know, Kachan and mommy, these are just words. By just saying mommy or mother, does that relieve the child of any stress or any fear? No. Again, mother is just a name. It is just a word. And the child knows it. It is just a name. What truly relieves the child is the mother's presence, is her being there with him. Her words of comfort, her embrace. A mother has a function, has a power, has a movement that helps the child. It's like water. When we're thirsty, very thirsty, we may even say the word water. But it's just a word. It doesn't quench the thirst. Until the water reaches our lips, fills our mouth, goes down our throat, we feel the coolness, the refreshing of that water. This is also the same for Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, it's just a word. It is just a word. It's just a name. It is the Buddha's name. Namo means I. Amida Buddha is a flow of life that pulls me away from the truth, pulls me away from that truth of life. Namo Amida Butsu is to know and experience that Amida Buddha is taking effect upon my life, this very moment. It is not the word, but it is the function of Amida Buddha. Today is Shotsuki Hoyo. There are times in our life when we may feel alone. There are times in our life when we feel afraid because we know that we may lose someone. But there are also times when we're able to decidedly know and experience the effects of our loved ones. As I said in the beginning, our ability to hear the Dharma is a direct result of our loved ones. We can remember the lives that we share. We can remember and recall the influence that they've had on our lives and the care that we receive from them, whether it's your father or your mother or your husband or your wife. Sometimes we can actually feel that deep sense of gratitude when we hear their name, when we call their name. But then again, our sadness, our loneliness will return. That's the truth. Our founder, Shinran Shonin, he mentioned that such an occasion is natural. It's human nature for this to happen. Because as human beings, we forget what is real. It goes beyond what is true and real. But going beyond all barriers of time and space, the effects of our loved ones continues to flow within us. Their lives continue to affect our lives, whether we acknowledge that fact or not. And today is a day for acknowledging that. To know and experience their effect on our lives is a comfort. It takes us out of that fear of darkness and ignorance. It relieves our loneliness, our sense of being left alone. Such is a powerful reminder of the karma of truth of life. This is what Namo Amida Butsu means. Namo Amida Butsu is an affirmation of what has taken place already, of the effect that our loved ones have on our lives. It is the function of Namo Amida Butsu that's important. It is not the word, but it is the function of Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much for listening in. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Before we close today, I would like to make a few announcements. The first announcement is that we are back to our regular schedule after the New Year's, and next Sunday we'll do our live streaming services, and on the same Tri-Temple website it'll be Monterey's Shotsuki Hoyo that we observe next week. I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. If you didn't get a chance to watch the videos, and I've said it many times, but I want to wish you the very best in the year 2021. I do want to remind everyone that we are still doing bingo here in Watsonville, and those of you who are participating, I want to share with you this week's bingo numbers. First number is, let me move in there, is B2. B2. Second number, 062. 062. Third number, B1. B1. Fourth number, G54. G54. And the fifth number this week is N35. N35. I know everybody is very aware of our virtual Sangha. As I look out, I see all these smiling faces, and I invite you to join our virtual Sangha. You can submit a colored picture, and we will get your cutout and set it up with the rest of the Sangha that's here. And you can also have a family member who's no longer with us, perhaps your father or mother, that you can add to our virtual Sangha. You can contact the office for more information, but donations are $50 for adults, $35 for children under 12, I believe, and for seniors over 80. All the proceeds from this fundraising go towards the Buddhist education. So please join our virtual Sangha. Now I'd like to ask you all to join me in the Gatha Ondoku-san on page 220. The spirit of Buddha is great wisdom and compassion to save all people by any and all means. It is the spirit of a mother towards her child, nourishing and protecting it. It is a spirit that prompts it to be ill with the sickness of people, to suffer with their suffering. Your suffering is my suffering, and your happiness is my happiness, said Buddha. And he does not forget that spirit for a single moment. For it is the self-nature of Buddhahood to be compassionate. A mother realizes her motherhood by loving her child. Then the child, reacting to his mother's love, feels safe and at ease. The Buddha's spirit of compassion is stimulated according to the needs of a person. A person's faith is the reaction to the spirit, and it leads him or her to enlightenment. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. This will conclude our January Shotsuki Hoyo here in Watsonville. I look forward to seeing you next week for Monterey Shotsuki Hoyo. Thank you.